Hey everyone, let's have a real talk for a minute. If I asked you right now to name the single healthiest thing you can eat, what would you say? My bet is 90% of you would say fruit. And I get it, I really do. In our minds, fruit is nature's perfect gift. It's a vitamin warehouse. It's supposed to keep us looking young, feeling energetic, and living longer. When we visit a friend in the hospital, we bring a fruit basket. Over the holidays, we show up with those big boxes of oranges or apples. And as doctors, including me, we're always telling you to eat more veggies and fruit for that all important fiber. But here's the thing today, I might need to pour a little cold water on that idea. In fact, what I'm about to say might completely change the way you think about certain fruits, because the hard truth is not every fruit is a healthy angel, thanks to profit driven food processing, industrial shortcuts, and even some natural plant properties. A few so called healthy fruits are hiding some serious health hazards. In my world, the world of family medicine and the doctors I talk with, there are certain fruits we personally never ever eat. Some cancer specialists I know actually call them cancer cell activators. If you are eating large amounts of these chemically altered or naturally toxic fruits day after day, you're not doing your body a favor. You could be feeding something you really don't want to feed, and that's not something to take lightly. So today, I'm putting on my honest, no nonsense hat. We are going to pull back the curtain on four of these toxic fruits, things you can find in almost any grocery store or farmer's market. This isn't just a quick tip video. This is a deep, important conversation about food safety. It's a little longer than usual, but I truly believe these next several minutes could protect your health and your family's health for years to come. Before we dive in, if you care about real, honest health information, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Here we talk about the things mainstream media rarely tells you. And if this kind of conversation is helpful to you, just type the number one in the comments. It really helps me know I'm on the right track. And of course, share your own stories below. All right, let's start with the first one. And in my opinion, this is the most dangerous one out there. The cancer evidence is rock solid. The World Health Organization has publicly called it out. I'm talking about betel nut. Why am I starting here? Because it's incredibly deceptive and the consequences are absolutely devastating. Now, some of you in southern communities or folks who drive long haul trucks or work overnight shifts, you probably know betel nut. In certain areas, it's not just a snack. It's a deep part of social culture. There is an old saying, when guests arrive, offer betel nut. People treat it like offering a cigarette or a cup of tea, a way to be welcoming, and some younger people think it's cool, even trendy. Why? Because it gives you a buzz. You pop it in, chew a few times, and suddenly your face gets warm, you break a light sweat, and your energy spikes. That drowsy, tired feeling just disappears. So people use it as a wake-up tool, a performance booster. But let me be extremely clear, and I mean extremely serious. This so-called energizing fruit is actually a demon in disguise. The road it takes you down doesn't just lead to a higher risk of cancer, it leads to a disfiguring, slow-motion destruction of your quality of life. I am not exaggerating. Back in 2003, the International Agency for Research on Cancer, that's part of the WHO, classified betel nut as a group 1 carcinogen. For those of you who don't spend your free time reading cancer research, group 1 means the evidence is absolutely certain. This substance causes cancer in humans, period. You know what else is on that same group 1 list? Arsenic, the aflatoxins that grow on moldy peanuts, and tobacco. So, from a cancer risk perspective, chewing betel nut is in the same category as swallowing arsenic or smoking cigarettes. Now, why is this little nut so incredibly toxic? Let's break it down, because understanding the how is what makes this so scary. First, the chemical danger. The quiet killer, betel nut, contains a unique chemical called arginine. This thing is biologically powerful. It directly stimulates your nervous system. It causes excitement, a feeling of pleasure, even a racing heart. That's why people get addicted so fast. Miss a day, and you feel off anxious. Uncomfortable, like something's wrong. The addiction potential is very similar to nicotine, but addiction isn't the worst part. The real problem happens when arginine mixes with your saliva. It reacts with naturally occurring nitrites to form compounds called nitrosamines. I want you to remember that name. Nitrosamines. These are well-known, extraordinarily powerful carcinogens. They are like silent assassins, and they directly attack the DNA in the cells of your mouth, causing mutations. Think about that. Every single time you chew betel nut, you are essentially giving a microscopic dose of poison to billions of delicate cells in your mouth. You are forcing them to mutate and pushing them down a dark path toward cancer. And to make it taste better or have a certain texture, processed betel nuts often have lime and other additives. Those alkaline chemicals chemically burn and destroy the protective barrier of your oral lining, creating an open door for those carcinogens to march right in. Second, the physical danger, the hard edge. If you've ever chewed betel nut, the fibers are incredibly rough, especially the dried kind. It's like chewing on wood chips or tree bark. Now, your oral mucosa, the lining of your mouth, is one of the most delicate, sensitive tissues in your entire body. It's supposed to be smooth, soft, and elastic. Chewing betel nut is like taking a piece of sandpaper and rubbing it back and forth on a piece of silk. It scratches, it cuts, it creates open sores. Your body tries to heal those sores. But if you chew every single day, month after month, year after year, the old wounds never fully close before new ones are ripped open. This constant cycle of injury, repair, re-injury, repair, eventually your oral mucosa gets exhausted, and it changes, it develops a condition called oral submucous fibrosis. That's a fancy medical term. But here's what it means in plain English. The soft, pink, flexible tissue in your mouth turns into hard, white, leathery scar tissue, like a callus. And once that starts, it is almost never reversible. At first, you just notice your mouth feels numb or dry, or hot or spicy food burns like crazy. Maybe you get blisters. A lot of people think it's just a hot flash or allergies. They drink some tea and keep chewing. But then a terrifying symptom appears. You can't open your mouth very far. I saw this myself when I rotated through the dental and oral surgery clinics. A normal, healthy person can open their mouth and easily fit 3 or 4 fingers stacked vertically. A long-term betel nut user, they might only fit 2. Then, as the fibrosis gets worse, 1 finger, eventually they can't even fit a single finger. They can't fit a straw. They can barely brush their teeth. Imagine that for a second. You can't open your mouth to eat solid food. You can't speak clearly because your tongue and cheeks are stiff. Even yawning, a basic reflex, causes tearing, searing pain. That's not living. That is a slow, agonizing imprisonment inside your own body. And I have to tell you, that is not even the end. That's just the sound of the alarm bell before the real disaster. On those hard, fibrotic, scarred tissues, normal cells very easily turn into cancer cells. In parts of the world where betel nut is widely chewed, the rate of oral cancer is dozens of times higher than elsewhere. Once you are diagnosed with oral cancer, the treatment is brutal. It is not like treating a skin spot. Oral cancer spreads fast, and the mouth and neck are full of blood vessels and nerves. To save your life, a surgeon has to do a massive disfiguring operation. They might cut out half your tongue. You will never taste food or speak clearly again. They might cut out part of your jaw. You won't be able to chew. In severe cases, they have to remove half your face, your jaw, your cheek, your chin. They call these people face cut patients. I have seen strong middle-aged men, the breadwinners for their families, who end up with half a face, drooling constantly, unable to eat anything that isn't liquid, and every single one of them is drowning in regret. But it's too late. Now, I know some of you are thinking, but doc, the betel nut I see at the store looks fancy. It says healthy on the package. It has goji berries and raisins, even probiotics. That's got to be safer, right? No, absolutely not. Do not be fooled by marketing. That is like putting a candy coating on a rat poison pellet. The core is still betel nut. The alkaline is still there. The rough fibers are still there. Arsenic with goji berries is still arsenic. And others say, I don't chew the whole thing. I just chew the juice and spit out the solid pieces. That's fine, right? No, again, the alkaline dissolves into your saliva the second you start chewing. And as long as you are chewing, those rough fibers are rubbing and damaging your tissues. There is no safe way to consume betel nut. So let me say this as clearly and loudly as I can. Betel nut is a hard no, do not start. If you currently chew it, please stop right now. Today, there is no room for negotiation. If you need something to keep your mouth busy, chew sugar-free gum, eat a handful of almonds, shell some sunflower seeds, but never ever betel nut. And if you have a friend or family member, especially a young person who chews betel nut, please share this information with them. Show them the pictures of face-cut patients if you have to. This isn't a scare tactic. This is medical truth written in the blood and suffering of too many people. Don't trade your face, your voice, and your dignity for a few minutes of energy. All right, after that heavy topic, let's move to something that might be sitting in your kitchen right now. A wolf in sheep's clothing, artificially ripened winter jujubes. Now, on their own, winter jujubes are a great fruit, thin skin, crisp texture, sweet, and incredibly high in vitamin C in their natural season. After the first frost in October, they are a fantastic, healthy choice. But here's the problem. Some sellers want to be the first to market. They want to charge premium prices in August or even earlier. So they pick the jujubes when they're still green, rock hard, and completely unripe. They're bitter and inedible. Nobody would buy them. So what do? They use a chemical shortcut. They soak those green, hard jujubes in a special bath. The bath is usually made of sodium saccharin or other artificial sweeteners, and sometimes even industrial grade chemicals. To turn them red, they dip them in hot water. Within a matter of hours, those green, unripe fruits turn bright red and taste unnaturally, cloyingly sweet. These are what I call sugar jujubes. What's the danger first? Sodium saccharin. It's an artificial sweetener that is hundreds of times sweeter than sugar, while it is allowed in very tiny, regulated amounts in some foods. The concentration in these illegal soaking baths is often wildly over the limit. Your body doesn't absorb it, but your kidneys have to process it. Long-term heavy intake puts a serious burden on your liver and kidneys for anyone middle-aged or older whose kidney and liver function is naturally slowing down. That's like throwing a boulder onto a tired horse. Second, if the seller uses industrial grade saccharin or other illegal additives, that stuff can contain heavy metals and other toxic impurities. Those things build up in your body over time. They can damage your nervous system, causing headaches, dizziness, and nausea. They can even harm your bone marrow, leading to anemia. And long-term accumulation of heavy metals is a known cancer risk. So how do you, as a smart shopper, spot these fake jujubes? I have 3 simple tricks. I call it look, feel, taste. Number 1. Look at the color. A naturally ripened jujube gets its red color from the sun. So the red is patchy and uneven, like a child's cheek, with some red and some green in a natural, gradual transition. A chemically ripened jujube has a color that is too uniform. The red is all the same shade, and the line between the red part and the green part is sharp, like someone drew it with a marker, and the red itself looks dull, dark, and lifeless, not vibrant. Number 2, feel the texture. A natural jujube has the skin and the flesh tightly connected. It feels firm and springy. You can keep it on your counter for days and it's fine. A treated jujube has been through a hot water bath and chemicals. The skin is cooked, but the flesh is still raw, so the skin feels loose, a little bit soft, and it wrinkles easily. Worse, it will start to rot and leak sticky liquid within a single day of bringing it home. Number 3, taste it. This is the most direct test. A natural jujube has a clean, refreshing sweetness. The sweetness comes from inside the flesh and it lingers. It tastes like a jujube. A treated jujube has skin that is sweet, often sickly, chemically sweet, but the flesh underneath is not sweet at all. Lick the skin, it's over the top sweet, almost bitter. Then bite into it. The flesh is bland, astringent, and the texture is fluffy and spongy, not crisp. My advice, buy winter jujubes when they are actually in season. If you see bright red, perfect winter jujubes in August or early September, just walk right past them. Eat with the seasons, eat for real health, not for a mouthful of industrial chemistry. Next, let's talk about a fruit that looks beautiful, has a sweet name, but may come with a corrosive danger: acid-soaked lychees. There's an ancient Chinese poem about lychees. It says a horse would run day and night to deliver fresh lychees to the emperor's favorite lady, because everyone knew lychees spoil incredibly fast, one day off the tree. The red shell turns dark 2 days, the flavor changes 3 days, it's rotten. So to make lychees look fresh and red after long international shipping, and to keep them looking good on a store shelf for days, some dishonest sellers give them an acid bath. They use diluted sulfuric acid, hydrochloric acid, or even bleach with too much sulfur dioxide to soak or spray the lychees. Why? Because the natural pigments in the lychee shell turn bright red when they hit an acid. One dip and old, dark, ugly lychees look bright, fresh, and brand new. Great for sales, terrible for you. Now, this is acid, people. It's diluted, but it's still corrosive. Who gets hurt first? Your hands. Have you ever peeled a bunch of lychees and noticed your fingertips feel like they're peeling, burning, or stinging? That's leftover acid eating at your skin. Your mouth and throat. When you put those acid-soaked lychees into your mouth, that residual acid directly irritates your oral tissues, your esophagus, and your stomach. At best, you get mouth sores and a sore throat. At worst, it can cause erosive gastritis, heartburn, reflux, and real stomach pain. And if the seller uses industrial grade acid, which is cheaper, it's loaded with heavy metals like lead, mercury, and arsenic. Those are slow, chronic poisons. They are carcinogenic. Your body has a very hard time getting rid of them. They accumulate in your nervous system, your kidneys, and your liver. For children whose organs are still developing, heavy metal exposure can cause permanent, irreversible damage. So how do you spot these acid lychees? 3 more simple checks. First, smell them. A normal, fresh lychee should have a light, pleasant, slightly floral, fruity smell. An acid-soaked lychee will have a sharp, sour, chemical smell, or it might smell like burnt matches. That's sulfur dioxide. If you smell anything like that, put them back. Second, look at the color. Naturally ripe lychees are not super bright red. They are usually a darker, more burgundy red, sometimes with brown or greenish patches. The surface is bumpy and uneven. Treated lychees are an unnaturally bright, vivid neon red. They're perfectly uniform in color and the surface looks strangely clean and smooth. Too perfect is often too fake. Third, feel them. Normal lychees have a relatively hard shell with pokey bumps. Acid-soaked lychees have a shell that feels soft, damp, and the bumps aren't pokey anymore. If you gently squeeze one, liquid might even seep out. My advice: buy lychees that are still on their stems or stored on ice. That's a good sign of freshness. If you see room temperature lychees that are shockingly red and shiny, be very, very skeptical. Finally, let's pull back the curtain on the last fruit on today's list, and this one is different. Unlike betel nut or out of season, jujubes or lychees, this one is a true household staple across America. You see it all year long, from big city Whole Foods to the corner bodega. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. Yes, the apple, the all-around health hero, the gentle, friendly fruit. But today, I need to add a very heavy footnote to that, saying if you are eating a naturally grown, clean apple, then yes, it truly can help keep the doctor away. But if that apple has been tampered with, coated in a nearly invisible layer of poison, then it could become an apple a day brings the doctor to stay, maybe even to the hospital. The danger I'm talking about is industrially waxed apples. Americans love apples. They're mild, not too cold, not too hot, good for kids and seniors, rich in potassium, pectin, and fiber, good for your heart and your gut. And the apple peel especially is often described as a nutritional goldmine. It has antioxidants and a type of fiber that's great for your digestion. So a lot of health conscious people eat the peel and they specifically look for those super shiny, mirror like red delicious or gala apples, thinking the shine means it's fresh and clean, but that's where the trap is. That shine is not natural. Here's the honest truth about wax on apples. Let me be fair for a minute. First, apples naturally produce their own very thin matte wax. It's the fruit's way of protecting itself from drying out. That natural wax is perfectly safe to eat. Second, large commercial growers often apply a very thin coat of food-grade wax, like carnauba wax or shellac, to help the apples survive long truck rides and months in cold storage. Within legal limits, that food-grade wax is considered safe. You wash it and your body deals with it just fine. The problem is industrial wax. Some dishonest sellers do the math. Food-grade wax costs money. Industrial petroleum-based wax costs pennies. So they use industrial floor wax, car wax, or other petroleum-based products to make their apples incredibly shiny, uniform, and perfect. Have you ever seen an apple that is so red it's almost purple, so shiny it reflects light like a glass ornament? You pick it up and it feels almost greasy or unnaturally smooth, and maybe it has a faint, strange chemical smell that is almost certainly industrial wax. Industrial wax is not food, it is literally a petrochemical, and it comes loaded with dangerous impurities. The 3 that scare doctors the most are polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, PAZ, mercury, and lead PAHs. You may have heard of these. They are the same cancer-causing chemicals found in cigarette smoke, in grilled meat char, and in car exhaust. They are fat-soluble, which means they can slide right into your cells and directly damage your DNA. That is a direct cancer risk. Mercury and lead heavy metals, these are silent cumulative poisons. Once they get into your body, they are very hard to remove. They build up over time. Where do they go first? Your liver, your main detox organ. Your liver works hard to break them down, but these are industrial chemicals. Over time, your liver gets damaged, your ability to detox decreases, and toxins build up elsewhere. That can lead to chronic inflammation and even cirrhosis. Second, your immune system. Heavy metals interfere with the normal function of your immune cells. They can make you more susceptible to common colds and flu, and over time may contribute to autoimmune problems. But most concerning, especially for middle-aged and older adults, lead is a direct neurotoxin. It damages your nervous system. It accelerates brain aging, leading to slower reactions, worse memory, shaky hands, and it significantly increases your risk of developing dementia. Imagine eating an apple specifically for your health and accidentally harming your brain in the process. And it gets worse. Industrial wax isn't just on the surface, it's oily and over time. It seeps into the microscopic pores of the apple peel. You can't just wash it off. So, what can you do? How can you tell if that shiny apple in your hand has food wax or industrial wax? Here's the simple test. I call it the scrape test. Take a small knife, the edge of a spoon, or even your house key. Gently scrape the surface of the apple over a small area. If you get a thin, white, powdery dust and the scraped area looks normal, that's probably the natural apple wax or a very thin layer of food grade wax. That's not a big concern after a good wash. If, however, you scrape and get a thick, sticky, pasty gunk, it might look like thick dandruff or even have a color. I've seen pink from added dye, and the surface underneath looks dull. That is industrial wax or such a thick layer of food wax that it's essentially the same problem. Do not eat that peel. So, for the average American family, what is the absolute safest, most foolproof way to eat an apple? I have three words, and I know some nutrition experts on YouTube might disagree with me, but I'm going to say it anyway. Peel the apple. I know every nutrition book, every wellness influencer, every TV doctor says eat the peel. It has quercetin, it has fiber. Peeling it throws away half the nutrients, and theoretically, they are right. But we don't live in a theoretical laboratory. We live in the real world with real food supply chains and real profit motives, and in the real world with our real aging bodies. Safety has to come first. Let's do a simple risk benefit calculation. What is the benefit of eating the peel? A small amount of antioxidants and a small amount of extra fiber. That's it. And both of those things are incredibly easy to get from other safer foods. You want fiber? Eat a bowl of oatmeal or some celery. You want those antioxidants. Eat some purple cabbage or a handful of blueberries. You will get more of both without the risk. What is the risk of eating the peel of a waxed apple? Potential long-term exposure to PAHs, lead, mercury, and other petrochemical residues, damage to your liver, your kidneys, your immune system, and your brain. The risk is not worth the tiny benefit, not for you, and especially not for anyone over 50 whose detox systems are already slowing down. Think of it like this. Fish is incredibly healthy, but if you knew a certain fish was full of tiny, sharp bones that could get stuck in your throat, would you say, well, but it's so healthy, I'll just eat it anyway? No, you would either take the time to remove every single bone or you'd choose a different fish. Peeling your apple is like removing the bones. You lose a tiny bit of nutritional benefit, but you gain immense peace of mind and safety. So don't feel bad about the peel. Don't be lazy. Get your peeler and just take 10 seconds to remove that shiny, potentially toxic outer layer. When you see the crisp, white, clean flesh underneath and take a bite, that's pure apple. That's the good stuff. Enjoy it without worry. Now, I know some of you are thinking, but Doc, I'm at work. I don't have a peeler. I really want to eat the peel for the fiber, or you just hate wasting food. I get it. If you are absolutely determined to eat the peel, then here is my advanced washing protocol. And please hear me. Rinsing with cold water does almost nothing to wax. Dish soap leaves a residue. This is the best home method I know. Get a bowl of warm water about 110 to 120 degrees Fahrenheit, hot but not scalding. Put your apples in and let them sit for a minute or two to soften the wax. Then take each apple out and sprinkle a generous amount of ordinary table salt onto the skin. Now use your hands to scrub firmly, scrub all over. Two things happen. The warm water melts the wax slightly and the salt acts like thousands of tiny scrubbing crystals. It physically abrades the waxy layer off the apple. The salt also has a mild antibacterial effect. You will actually see a greasy, cloudy film form on the water surface. That's the wax and dirt. After scrubbing, rinse the apple thoroughly under running cold water. Then feel the skin. A clean apple should feel almost squeaky or slightly rough, not slippery or greasy like a plastic toy. Will this remove 100% of everything? No. If the wax has seeped into the pores, the salt can't get it all, but it will remove the vast majority of the surface residue, and that's a lot better than nothing. All right, my friends, we have spent a lot of time together today. We have pulled back the veil on 4 imposter fruits: betel nut, artificially ripened winter jujubes, acid-soaked lychees, and industrially waxed apples. I know hearing all of this might make you feel a little overwhelmed. You might think, oh, great, now I'm scared to eat anything. Please don't let that happen. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Most fruit is wonderful for you. The goal of all this is not to make you fear fruit. It is to make you a smarter, more empowered shopper and eater, to give you the tools to choose wisely. So let me leave you with three simple, memorable rules for fruit safety. Rule number one, eat with the seasons. Mother Nature gives you food at the time you're supposed to eat it. A locally grown, in-season fruit does not need artificial ripening, heavy preservatives, or a long, chemically treated journey to your plate. It is almost always safer, more nutritious, and tastes better. Eat watermelons in July, not January. Eat apples in the fall, not in the spring. When you see a summer fruit in the dead of winter, just know it probably came with a lot of help. Rule number two, choose ugly fruit. Seriously, stop reaching for the biggest, brightest, smoothest, most perfect piece of fruit in the bin. The fruit that looks a little wonky, lopsided, with a small scar, dull skin, uneven color, that fruit is much less likely to have been overhandled with chemicals and waxes. Nature is not perfect. When fruit looks too perfect, it's often because a human being made it that way, and that human being wasn't thinking about your health. Rule number three, wash well. Peel when in doubt. This is your final line of defense. Assume nothing is perfectly clean. Wash every piece of fruit, no matter where you bought it. If you can peel it, apples, pears, peaches, just peel it. That one simple action eliminates the vast majority of surface level pesticides, waxes, and contaminants. If you can't peel it, like berries or grapes, wash it in a bowl of water with a little salt or baking soda and scrub gently. Your health is not built on one magical superfood. It is built on dozens of small, consistent, smart choices you make every single day. In the grocery store, at the farmer's market, in your own kitchen, our bodies are incredible, but they're not invincible. They've been running for decades. We can't stop the natural aging process, but we can absolutely stop adding unnecessary, avoidable toxins that speed up the clock and steal our vitality. These four fruits that many doctors I know never eat. I hope starting today you'll think twice about them too. Share this with your spouse, send it to your kids, post it to your friends. Let's build a little more knowledge and a little smarter safety into every meal. If you got something valuable out of this, if I helped you see even one thing differently, please do me a favor and hit that like button. It's not just a thumbs up for me, it's a commitment to yourself and your family to take this information seriously. And if you know someone who loves fruit but maybe doesn't know how to choose it safely, share this video with them. Let's spread this health knowledge together. Disclaimer, this is for educational purposes only. Always consult your own doctor before making changes to your diet or health routine. And remember, if you're dealing with any health concerns, please schedule a visit with your primary care doctor. I'm here to help you understand the science, not replace professional medical advice. Take care of yourself, eat smart, eat safe, and live well. I'll see you in the next video.